Okay, everyone, let's talk about shame. We've all felt it, we've all experienced it. Doesn't feel good. It's a hard feeling. It's challenging to sit in shame, and yet, shame is a part of our lives. It's part of the emotions that arise for us. And I want to talk about it when it arises, in particular, in the context of a play therapy session. So, a couple pieces first, just to create some context about why these feelings of shame can arise. And then we'll talk about what can we do to support ourselves and to stay connected to ourselves. But the first thing just to remind ourselves of is that the felt sense of shame is really this feeling of, I'm not okay, right? I'm not okay. There's like something fundamentally wrong with me. I'm broken in some way. And as a reminder, that might be part of the setup. So many of the children that come into play therapy, this is how they're feeling. They're not feeling good enough. They're not feeling worthy. They're not feeling important. They're not feeling fundamentally okay. And the result of that in the play experience is that they may offer us a felt sense of what it feels like to be them, which may mean us sitting in shame, us sitting in that felt sense exchange of, I'm not okay. So let's all take a deep breath here because we've all felt this before. So that may be one of the reasons why we're feeling it in a play therapy session. Another reason we may feel this strongly in a play therapy session is because maybe we did something and then we question it later. Like we really have that, oh my goodness, I actually think that somehow I messed up, or gosh, I said that thing and I shouldn't have. And then we question ourselves and we have an experience of shame for an action that we did in some way. I want to remind us that one of the most beautiful parts about relationship is repair. So, are there going to be times when we second guess? Are there times when we go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I did that or I said that? Yes, there are. Yes, it's going to happen. And we can rely on repair to help us come back into relationship first with ourselves, repair with ourselves first. And then we get to have repair with our clients if that's what is needed in those moments. Another place that shame can show up for us in play therapy are those shoulds. You know what I'm talking about? Those shoulds in our head, the ones that say we should do it like this, we shouldn't do it like that, we should be more like this, we should know. And those shoulds can often trigger in us a deep sense of, I'm not okay, I'm not good enough, et cetera, et cetera. So those are just three of the reasons why we might feel shame intensely in a play therapy session. I know that there's more, but just for us to just even be reminded that, oh, there's a reason can be helpful because it can help us be able to create a little bit of space between the intensity of the shame response and being able to see it in a larger context. So even though we may understand it, even though we might be able to hold a framework for it, it doesn't mean that it still doesn't feel just in our own system. So what do we do? Right? What do we do when that felt sense of shame is sitting right there? I want to remind us that when we have these experiences of I'm not okay, that it's likely a very young part of us that's having a hard time. It's that young part of us that is struggling, that's crying inside, that's feeling not good enough. And one of the most profound things that we can do is to connect to ourselves. It really goes back to that idea of, can we regulate? Can we attach to ourselves in those moments? Can we rock our own inner young one? can we recognize that our own inner young one needs a really, really, really big hug? And so, what can we do in those moments to take care of ourselves and our young one? Can we take a walk? Can we take a deep breath? Can we have a cup of tea? Can we let ourselves go to bed early that night and tuck ourselves in with all of our pillows and our blankets? What can we do to really work with and be with that deep sense of shame? Now, I know that the examples I just gave are things that you would do outside of the playroom, because oftentimes this shame feeling spills over outside the playroom and goes home with us. Or if we're doing telehealth, it goes upstairs or downstairs or in the other room with us. It continues on. But the same process is important when you're in the session. Now, you may not be able to just pause and have your cup of tea or pull out your blankets or whatever it is, but you can rock your inner young one. You can take a breath. Maybe you name it. Maybe you find a deeper way of regulating in those moments. Maybe you simply put your hand on your heart. Maybe you find a way to give yourself a hug in the session. But there are ways that we can still be with ourselves when we are activated in a deep sense of shame, allowing ourselves the ability to be able to maybe, again, separate from the intensity of the felt sense a little bit more, to be able to see that larger context. Oh, this is the setup right now. Oh, there's that should in my head. Oh, I'm second guessing what I just did a second ago. Okay, let me come back in and do the repair. And really, it just comes back to continuing to develop a stronger, secure attachment with ourselves, and another opportunity for us to practice one foot in, one foot out. How do we stay connected to ourselves in the midst of activation, even if it's shame?